I have attended church as long as I can remember, and I have the best family ever. But unfortunately, neither one of those made me immune to mental illness. I not only attended church, but I was very involved in serving, even in Nicaragua. When I was in college, I was also a Young Life leader, pouring my life into middle school students to help lead them to Christ. Things were good. When I was in graduate school for nursing, I experienced extreme stress that literally broke me. I was having anxiety that eventually led to panic attacks. My brain could only allow so much anxiety for so long before I fell into a deep depression. I was diagnosed with clinical depression. I felt ashamed as I had to withdraw from nursing school. I tried to pray, I tried to read my Bible. The truths that had provided me with hope, as well as the students I led in Young Life, no longer made sense. But like I mentioned, I have an amazing family who literally advocated for me in ways that I could not for myself. They got me the help I needed. I, like many people with depression, had to try many medications before we identified the right one. I spent many hours in therapy. It was only then, when my brain had the assistance from medication, that I was able to relearn God's truth, like hope. But almost as quickly as I slipped into a dark depression, I experienced just the opposite, which honestly felt a lot better to me, also known as mania. I had a hard time sleeping. I was busy all the time. It was crazy. But it was also when I met my amazing husband, Brian. He had no idea what he was getting into. But we quickly bonded over our experiences with depression and our shared love of youth ministry.
When I was in high school, I started to learn about my parents' divorce and just kind of everything that had transpired to cause it. And I began to think I wasn't good enough for my parents to stick together. Maybe I'm not good enough for anything. And I fell into a depression as well. And then I had a youth group leader step up and did something nobody had ever done before. And they just walked through life with me. And it was really cool. And when I got to college, he asked me to serve in the middle school group. And 13 years later, I'm still doing it. And it's one of the ministries that I just have loved to serve in. When Jenny and I met, I had no idea that she was going through what she felt like she was going through or what she had been going through. And then as we started dating and getting to know each other, I learned everything that was going on in her head. And I realized we needed to walk through life together too. I heard a message about it was from the Chronicles of Narnia with C.S. Lewis, and how as they walked into war, Peter and Lucy held the lion's mane, and it's kind of like the two of us walking into war with each other with God. And it felt right. And we started going to church together, and we got involved in a care group for people that struggled with mental illness, and kind of learned those same lessons, just walking side by side with each other, and with Jesus as well.
Kind of to flash back, that high I mentioned, that mania only lasted so long, and then again it was about med changes and my family's support and advocacy, and Brian, of course, stepping in to help me at the time. He had to learn who the real me was, and he has really stood by me through so many ups and downs and all the in-between. 7 months ago, we experienced a dark time together. We lost our twins, one at 12 weeks, and our daughter, Remy, was stillborn at 24 weeks. Of course, it was a dark time, and I had so much anxiety about whether I would slip into a depression. But I think had I not had those times of depression earlier in my life, I wouldn't have known who to reach out to, how to get the help I needed. And it didn't take away from the great sorrow and pain of the grief of losing children, but it really, really helped. I never thought I would say that. Of course, looking back, I can see when I question God, why are these things happening to me? I can see his hand in it all. Even the darkest days of depression or losing our babies, God was there. He was there when our amazing friends and family and church family loved us through it all, being Christ's hands and feet. This gives me hope because I know that the ups and downs may return, and God does not promise an easy life, but I have faith that God will be with us through it all. He says in Jeremiah 29:11 that his plans are to prosper us and not to harm us, and this has provided me with so much hope for the future.